You know, biscuits were something that I was always interested in. My grandmother baked biscuits. Everybody's grandmother baked biscuits, and you always hear stories about biscuits.
And this is one of those stories about biscuits, or more specifically, this is a story about a place called Biscuits and Company. Located in Biddeford, Maine, about an hour north of Massachusetts, Biscuits and Company is a cute, quirky breakfast and lunch spot where just about anything you want to eat is served up on a biscuit.
The whole idea is everything on a biscuit.
It's all thanks to Chef Carrie Craker, pastry chef Kara Chase, and the woman who started it all, Stacey Cooper.
I'm the owner, which means that I do a little of everything.
Stacey opened the restaurant about 2 years ago, and from day one, it's been a place where everyone comes to be welcome and well fed.
I set out to create a place that would feel a little bit like coming into your crazy aunt's kitchen. and I'm the crazy aunt.
And this crazy aunt is even crazier about baking beautiful biscuits.
Ingredients make a huge difference. We use 20% Maine-grown grains in our biscuits. We use great butter. We use really good buttermilk.
So the butter and the buttermilk both have to be really cold and chilled. Right now, the biscuit dough has come together, but it's not too wet. When it's too wet, the biscuits will be too dense and they'll flatten out in the oven. And we don't want that. We don't want flat biscuits.
I think a lot of it's in the handling, just how you put the biscuits together. They need a light touch, and you sort of have to feel your way through them.
Now I'm just cutting the biscuits to about the size of a Post-it note. And also if I feel like the biscuit is a little too wet, I'll add more flour to it, because at this point I can tell what the biscuit's going to come out like just by the feel of the dough. So we cook these for about 14 minutes total, and you really do have to keep an eye on them because there's just one certain point when they are ready.
It should be a little bit crispy on the outside. It should be soft on the inside. When you open it up, you just get all these fluffy layers. When it's hot, there's just this steamy goodness that comes, and you can smell the wheat and you can smell the butter, and you bite into it and you get a little crunch. The Maine grains give it a little bit of sweetness and a little bit of texture that you don't get in a pure white biscuit. So you get this earthy quality that is just delicious. Everybody has a different definition of what a good biscuit is. So I've had people come in here and say, well, these aren't Southern biscuits. These aren't the fluffy Southern biscuits. These aren't Pillsbury Poppin' Fresh biscuits. No, they're not. They're Biddeford biscuits. They're Maine biscuits.
Here at Biscuits and Company, you can always enjoy a biscuit on its own or spread with some sweet jam, but that's just the beginning, because they also pair perfectly with just about everything coming out of Chef Carrie's kitchen.
It's a great vehicle for almost anything, because it's like great if you want to like sop something up like gravy or barbecue sauce. It actually does just lend itself to like all sorts of cuisines, all sorts of flavors. It's the thing that carries everything else.
There's classic biscuits and pepper sausage gravy, eggs Benedict on a biscuit with thick-cut ham and homemade hollandaise, and biscuit breakfast sandwiches that put the fast food versions to shame.
When you bite into that, first you get the little crunch of the biscuit, and then you go through the soft of the biscuit, and then you get to the kind of salty, smoky of the cheese, and then you get the runny yolk of the egg, and it just all comes together into this perfect breakfast bite.
And if you need a little something extra to get you going in the morning, especially if you overindulged the night before, ask for something called Pop's Cure, named for the bar next door.
So I was really hungover one morning, like I shouldn't have been here. And I was like, I gotta get some food. So I just created this thing, and it's like a biscuit smothered with sausage gravy, covered with 2 eggs, melted cheese, and bacon. And I ate that, and I felt much better. So I was like, what can we call this? It's like, well, let's call it Pop's Cure, because it actually does help when you're really hungover.
If you stop by for lunch and want a little barbecue on your biscuit, try the pulled pork with Moxie barbecue sauce. And if for some reason you don't want a biscuit at Biscuits and Company, there's a delicious bacon and onion quiche, addictive house-made granola with Greek yogurt, and a fluffy sausage, bacon, and cheese omelet. Best of all, customers enjoy it all in a bright, friendly space filled with local art, reclaimed wood, and plenty of smiling faces.
I want them to feel welcomed. I want them to feel at home. I want them to feel like this is not your usual restaurant. And people tell us all the time that that's exactly what happens. They look around and they see the colors, they see the space, they see the art on the walls, and they recognize that this is someplace that's got a lot of soul, that's got a lot of heart. And that's what I want.